Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and I'm here to talk about books. So this is going to be the start of another reading vlog, and it is going to be a little bit different because I am going to be reading weird girl books. The whole reason that I decided that I wanted to make this video is because I have two books here that I need to read relatively soon. For the Buzzword title challenge for August, we are to read a book that has with in the title, and I decided to pick Comfort Me with Apples. I've had this one on my shelf for quite some time, so it's about time that I got around to it. But I do know that some people said this book is very weird. It's outlandish, it's kind of Twilight Zone-y. So yeah, this is one of the books that we're going to be reading. And then the other one is one that I have checked out from my library and I should be reading it and returning it soon. So A Touch of Jen. I think it has like a stalker trope in it or something like that. I wanted to add a third book onto this one just because I have like the Comfort Me with Apples is so short. And I was looking at some of the options on my TBR and I found that my library had a ebook available for me to check out, which was Nightbitch by Rachel Yoder, which I just know that this one is about a woman who suspects that she's turning into a dog or like a werewolf or something. So yeah, I'm very interested in that. And I also recently saw, I think it was Hulu did a movie adaptation of this. So of course, with it being on my TBR and with there being a movie adaptation, I can't watch the movie until I read this book. So perfect book for me to add, and it's available just in time for me to make this video. But first, I think we're going to start on Comfort Me with Apples just because it is a novella, so it is going to be the easiest way to get started on the TBR. We'll see what I think of it and if I can understand it. I'll keep you guys posted. Business I have on a weekend going to bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning and then waking up at 8:30. My absolutely messy hair today got retainers in because yesterday I noticed that I was getting a gap in my teeth. I haven't been wearing my retainers. I paid good money not to have a gap in these teeth, so can't be having that. But I did finish Comfort Me with Apples yesterday. It was just way too late for me to like film because it was too dark and whatever. It's the morning and I am coming back with the update on this, my final thoughts. So I know a lot of people have read this book and probably seen some stuff on it, so I don't know what all classifies as a spoiler for this one. There is a huge integral piece of this story that could be considered a spoiler, but at the same time, like if you look up this book, you're probably going to end up seeing that. And also if you are looking at like the definition of this book, it literally says it's a retelling. Before I guess I jump into all of that, I'll just say this writing is very flowery, it's very pretty, but at the same time there is horror happening in here. So it has that like really eerie, trapped vibe going on with it, and that part I really did like. But the other like huge theme in this book is misogyny, and it is beating you over the head with a bat how this book is about misogyny, because it's like every single freaking page she's saying like, oh, I was made for him, and she talks about how like small and fragile she is, and that she's just this petite little housewife, just like stays home and cleans and does the dishes, and then she goes and has tea with her friends, and then her husband is like this big burly man who's working all the time. And I just feel like it was kind of over the top, a little bit annoying how often it was like reiterated to us. Yes, I understand this is about misogyny. I get it. There was so much more that could be said if you showed us other things instead of just outright hand feeding the reader on every other page. If they included it more in the plot instead of just repeatedly saying that she was small, she was fragile. Like, oh, she doesn't use the kitchen knives though because they're too big for her tiny little hands. Like, okay. All right then, that's strange. If you don't want spoilers for this one, I'm just gonna have a very short part where I talk about like the spoilery thing that surrounds this book. I will put a little timestamp, so skip here if you don't want to hear about it. This is a retelling of Adam and Eve, and it's like through a horror lens. So the thing that I didn't like about it is that I don't really enjoy reading about like religious stuff, and I feel like some of the things went over my head a little bit because I'm not really into like biblical tales and things like that. I did pick up on, obviously, like there's Adam is her husband, and then she's Eve, but with a horror twist. So it's like he is killing off these women that are supposed to be Eve, and then his father is like recreating these women for him so that he could have his perfect little Eve. But this man is just like got his anger problems, and he can't control himself, and he keeps murdering off his little Eves that he gets. I can't really say that I liked this book a lot. There were certain aspects about it that I enjoyed, like the horror part of it, and like some of the visuals that were in here. The writing was really beautiful, but at times just too repetitive. I didn't give a shit about a single character in this story. I didn't like any of them, but the redeeming quality for me was the setting, the atmosphere. Like, it was a very spooky, secluded. It felt, while reading from her perspective, that we were trapped, and there was a really dark demise that was coming for us. So yeah, the atmosphere and everything is what I liked about this story. I ended up settling on a 2.5 star with this one, just right down the middle of the road. And the reason that I didn't rate it higher is because I didn't care about any of the characters. I didn't care about how like it's a retelling of a different story, and like what the accuracy was of this to the original story. Like, I just didn't care about any of that. Today I do want to start on A Touch of Jen by Beth Morgan, and I do have a lot of stuff that I need to get done today, so I won't really be able to sit down and read this one. But I still want to get started on it. So I'm gonna try out the audiobook. I think I found it on Spotify. So I'm going to start off with the audiobook and see if I like it. I kind of have a harder time with audiobooks for like these more strange, weirder books, because with an audiobook, I don't feel fully present because I'm usually doing something else. So I don't know if it'll work for me, but I'm gonna give it a try because I do want to start this one ASAP. But I also have like a lot of things that I need to get done, and my life can't just stop because I'm reading a book. unfortunately. So yeah, we'll check out this audiobook and see if I like it and if I can follow along with the story. And if not, then I'm just gonna have to pick it up later. Is Monday. It is later on Monday, around 9 p.m. So I just got off work and I took a shower. It is very dark in here and the lighting is really weird because it has been storming all day because we are officially in monsoon season here in Arizona. So there was a huge storm today, like a huge one. It was actually really nice. I wish I could have gotten some footage of it to show you guys, but I didn't. I was working. And it is still like raining a little bit outside. My husband went to go pick up my sister because she is supposed to be staying for like a couple of days at my house. So yesterday and a little bit of today, I did get into A Touch of Jen by Beth Morgan. I am about 150 pages into this and it is weird. It is weird. This fits the prompt. Read as much as I anticipated that I was going to yesterday because I had the biggest desire to play The Sims, and The Sims is one of those games that once that I start playing it, actually no, this is kind of how I am for a lot of my hobbies. Once that I get back into it and I start doing it, it's really hard for me to stop. So I stayed up until like 3 a.m. playing The Sims last night. I did read this before I started doing that, and then today when I woke up and on my breaks today I read. Only knew when I was going into this one that there's like a stalkerish trope in here, and there kind of is. It's this couple, this very weird couple named Remy and Alicia, and Remy used to work with this woman named Jen who he was like obsessed with. And then his obsession with her has gone so far that it has kind of spilled over into his girlfriend, Alicia. And they do some pretty weird shit. Like, not only do they like stalk her on social media and they talk about her all the time, and she's essentially like the thing that keeps this couple's relationship alive is like stalking this woman on the internet. He hasn't, like, it's an old coworker of his, so he hasn't really been working with her. He doesn't see her in person or anything. One day they run into Jen at the Apple store and she starts talking to them and she's like, yeah, me and my friends are going on this surfing trip. My boyfriend's gonna be there. He's like a surfing instructor. And she was like, you guys should come. So she invited them on this trip. And also they played her up because of how obsessed they are with her and that they talk about her on her social media all the time, and they'll be like, oh my god, did you see what Jen posted on Instagram today? And like, do you think she photoshopped that? Or did you see the outfit that she was wearing? And then Alicia will like go buy the outfit and then they like role play, and it's just really weird. It's really weird. But yeah, Remy still has like this compulsion, like this obsession with Jen, but I feel like Alicia is a little bit more unhinged. Obviously her boyfriend being obsessed with this woman, and then now she is. I just feel like we're kind of setting something up here into Alicia's like background and stuff, and you find out that she has struggled with her mental health and that she is recovered from like an eating disorder and she was in a facility for it and things like that. She has a little bit of a troubled past. There was some talk about her having like a brain injury when she was younger, and I actually learned this kind of recently, but I found out that if you have like a brain injury, sometimes it can lead to you not having like the best decision making skills. Like you kind of feed more into your impulsiveness. So that's definitely something that I could see happening in here. I don't know how I feel about using like the whole like troubled past and mental health aspect as like a horror trope, but we'll see how the author handles it if it does go in that direction. There's a lot of commentary in this book about like class, like social media, and how people portray themselves on the internet, and that you only see certain parts of people's lives that they want to show you on the internet. So that has been very interesting. There's some parts of it that are kind of funny, like a social comedy type thing. I find that to be like a really redeeming quality of this book, even though there are some aspects of it that are just weirdly uncomfortable. But I feel like that's kind of the point. And I am enjoying this one so far, and I could see myself rating it like a 3.5. That's just kind of how I feel about it right now, but it really depends on how it ends. But yeah, A Touch of Jen so far, this one has been my favorite of the two that I've read. Comfort Me with Apples was like, it was all right, but this one's been better so far. I'm just sitting here trying to read my book, but my dog is terrified of thunderstorms.
It's okay. What are you doing? What's happening out there? Your brother's freaking out. It's okay, Turk.
The whole waterfall coming right off the ceiling. That's my sister.
I want to play in the rain.
This is some crazy rain. It's like if I stand right here, I don't get wet. I guess that's the whole point of this reading vlog, is reading weird books. This is a weird book. So I finished this book last night, and it was like way too late for me to give an update, so I'm giving you an update now after my work day. I'm so bad at updating vlogs during my work week. Like, it's bad, but I still enjoy doing it. Anyways, this took a completely unexpected turn, and I don't know if it's in a positive way. Like, I don't know how I like that. I was totally not expecting what happened here. I mean, the thing that I thought was going to happen would have been, you know, something that made me dislike the book and probably rate it lower. So I'm glad that it didn't go that route. But the end of this book is a complete fever dream. Like, the entire book is weird, okay? The entire book is totally strange and just out of left field, because this couple is absolutely horrible together. Like, they hate each other. Like, this man Remy does not give a shit about his girlfriend. He doesn't. And their relationship is only surviving based off of this obsession that they both have with this woman. So it's like, that's weird. The whole like sexual aspect of their relationship, like role playing as Jen, weird and uncomfortable. This is one of those books that you're reading and you're like, what the absolute hell is going on right now? But at the same time, like, it is a train wreck that you have to stick around to the end, because you're like, but what's gonna happen though? That's how this one felt. I ended up giving it 3 stars because parts of it I found very interesting and it kept me going, even though like it was extremely weird and uncomfortable, and like that was the entire thing that I knew going into this book, that it was going to be like that. But when I tell you, like, there were some parts of it where I was just like, I don't even know what just happened. I don't even know what's going on right now. It reminded me of watching like an episode of Black Mirror. I love Black Mirror. I love how every episode is about humanity and how far people will go for their own selfish needs and desires. The difference between this and like an episode of Black Mirror is that most of the time, I think I've only seen a couple episodes where it wasn't like about technology going wrong, you know. Most of the time there's something about like a new device or some type of like scientific new world thing that came out that seems like it's going to be amazing, but it ends up ruining people's lives. Like that's kind of the theme of Black Mirror. And then there are some episodes that I've seen here and there where there's technology involved and it has a lot of social commentary and it's talking about like how shitty we are as human beings. It's more of like a, hey, this is a really fucked up situation, right? Yeah, it is. That's kind of like how this felt to me. After I was done reading this, I had to look it up and see what other people were saying about it because I was like, I am extremely confused. I was listening to a podcast that was talking about it and I found out that this author said she took something to help her create the end of this book, and I feel like that comes through in the writing for sure, because this is not something like on this plane. This is a 100% fever dream. So yeah, 3 stars. Very, very strange book, but this is the theme of this video, so I guess it's extremely fitting. I started on the 3rd book for this video, which is Nightbitch by Rachel Yoder. I started this morning, but I did not get very far into it because I was extremely busy today at work and with like all the things that I had going on. So I'm hoping to get a little bit farther into this tonight, but I definitely remember the premise of this one correctly. This is about a woman who believes that she's turning into a dog. I feel like once that I'm done filming and reading all the books that I picked out for this vlog, it's going to be extremely weird to read like a normal book. That I'm gonna have a hard time understanding it because my brain has had to comprehend all this weird shit that I'm reading, but it's fun. I enjoy it. When Jazz gets off work, which he gets off in like an hour or so, she's gonna be coming over. I'm going to be making breakfast for dinner and we'll probably play Catopoly, which is just Monopoly, but a cat version, because of course. But that is the plan. And I'll probably pick back up this book when I'm going to bed.
Oh shit! Wait, but you can call it again.
Anthrotism, brain go burr. So I finished Nightbitch, and this book was actually very surprising to me. I'm surprised with how much I liked it. What I didn't know going into this book is that it has a lot to do with like motherhood, and it tells a story about how being a mom can be all consuming and it can completely take over like your entire life and your personality, and you kind of have to grieve who you were in the past, having to put your kid before your own needs. And with that comes a lot of not having time for yourself and not having time to be a person or to follow through with your own desires or dreams. And that's not what I was expecting at all going into this book. I was not expecting it to really be like that deep. Our protagonist, who is unnamed throughout the book, the only name that you ever get for her is Nightbitch, and that's like her dog version of herself, recently gave birth. She has herself a son and he is in daycare while she works. She was an aspiring artist, and so like her life was very artsy beforehand and she had all these dreams and stuff, but she works this job, she's breastfeeding, so she's pumping a lot at work, and she comes home and takes care of her child, and her husband, you know, helps her with the kids, but being like a mom, you tend to be a lot more needed for the kid, especially when your own body is like feeding them. So he can only play a part so much in taking care of this child, and he also makes more money, and so he like is the one that keeps this job while she becomes a stay-at-home mom, which most people, when you think, like, if you're unfamiliar with motherhood or you don't have people very close to you who have children, and you know, like, what, you know, it's like to be a mom and for your child to be like your entire world, you might not understand being a stay-at-home mom is not like the easiest thing in the world. I personally cannot relate to the struggles of motherhood because I do not have children. So aside from watching BookTube on YouTube, another one of my little niches that I like to watch are like, you know, first 24 hours with a newborn baby and stuff like that, or day in the life of a toddler mom, things of that nature, and like birth vlogs and stuff and pregnancy related content. I love watching that stuff. So I found this book to be really interesting, and it kind of just like hit on that niche that was like not expected for me whatsoever. And I found it to be a hard read. Like it hit hard. I feel like when I do become a mother and I can understand from a more personal level like the meaning behind a lot of things that happen in this book, I probably will want to reread this. I ended up giving it 4 stars because I did enjoy it a lot. It still was very metaphorical. It's not a book that you can pick up and just be like, no thoughts, head empty, which is something that I do like, but I also like stuff that challenges me. But this one took me a minute to really get into it and like understand a lot of the writing and stuff because it's very flowery. It falls in this category of like weird books, so of course it was a little bit harder to understand. It took some getting used to. So it is about what I said it was about to begin with. It is about a woman who is turning into a dog, and but it has this whole other meaning behind it, which is what I wasn't expecting. And it was that she became all consumed with motherhood and having to take care of her child while at the same time wanting to, and there's this internal dilemma of like giving up my dreams and giving up what makes me me and my social life and everything because I have this little person that I created that relies on me and that I need to take care of, and I have instincts to put them before myself. And she goes into this like state of mind where it's really primal, and it's just like, you know, take care of myself, survive, take care of my child, make sure my child survives. And that's kind of what animals do in the wild. So that's where that whole idea plays into the whole motherhood aspect of it all. It puts a different perspective on the depression, the grief of having a child. Very rarely does a woman give birth to a child and not experience some kind of self-loss, like grieving who they were before, whether that's physically, mentally, just your lifestyle in general. A lot changes when you have a child. I will say though, I do not think that this book is for everybody. This book is kind of gross. And of course, it is about a woman turning into a dog and the instincts of her as a dog being very primal, and dogs aren't really the cleanest, most sanitary being. Also, a ravenous, starving dog that is fighting to survive doesn't tend to be the pickiest of eaters, so there are a lot of really like disturbing and gross scenes in this book. There's animal death. So if you're somebody who reads like a lot of extreme horror and stuff, this is probably going to be a walk in the park to you. But if you're somebody who's more squeamish and kind of queasy around topics of like blood, raw meat, eating things, pooping, things like that, this is probably not going to be a book that you want to read because it definitely deals with that. We are reading from the point of view of a woman who is turning into a dog. So if you're squeamish, you've been warned. I'm not saying this book is for everybody. I'm not saying that everybody would understand it, but I did enjoy it and I did give it 4 stars. I have completed the TBR for this video, but I think tonight after I get off work, I'm going to force my sister to watch this movie with me because I actually do want to see it now, and I want to see how Hulu adapted it, and if it kind of gives off like the same vibes. And I will give you guys an update later once I am starting on this movie. This is my dinner for the movie night. Some grilled cheese made in the waffle maker with some tomato soup.
Sally took over your mom's job at the gallery after you were born. Oh, he's super cute. Do you just love getting to be home with him all the time? Must be so wonderful. Yeah, that's a good question. You know, but it's complicated though, because I mean, I would love to feel content, but instead I feel like I'm just stuck inside of a prison of my own creation where I torment myself until I'm left binge eating Fig Newtons at midnight to keep from crying. And I feel like societal norms and gender expectations and just plain old biology have forced me to become this person that I don't recognize, and I'm just angry all the time, like all the time. I'd love to direct some of my own artwork towards a critique of the modern day systems that articulate this, but my brain just doesn't function the way that it did before I had the baby, and I'm dumb now. And I am deeply afraid that I am never going to be smart or happy or thin ever again. Do you just love getting to be home with him all the time? Must be so wonderful. Oh, yeah, I do. I love it. I do. I love being a mom.
So I did finish the movie, and I will say that I liked the book a lot better, which is usually the case, no surprise there. But I still thought the movie was pretty good. I feel like if I didn't read the book, I would be really confused about what was happening in that movie, because a lot of it is like internal dialogue with the mom and what she's going through, and like sort of sometimes conversations with other people. But I definitely feel like I would have been confused because a lot of it is her and just her. Like the other main character in the story is her 2-year-old son and her husband, but like he's in and out, you know, like he works and stuff. So I will say though that the actress who played the mom, I think her name was like Amy Adams or something. She was such a good actress. She played the role of a mother who's losing touch with reality so well. Like I could feel her emotions through the screen. So yeah, that was really good. I would say the movie was probably like maybe a 3-star, you know, not right down the middle, but it was a little bit better than that. And I feel that if I didn't read the book first, I probably would have given it like a 2 because I wouldn't have really understood a lot of it. But yeah, definitely liked it. So I wanted my sister to tell you guys what she thought of that movie, not having read the book. What did you think, Layla?
That movie is weird.
What would you rate it?
But like, I would rate it like a 10 out of 10 because I get it though.
A 10 out of 10?
Because I get it though. Like, I don't have children, but I get it though.
Bruh.
That was a spoiler.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, there you have it. My sister's thoughts on the movie as well. Being somebody who has not read the book, I'm actually kind of surprised that she liked it because I said I would have been super confused. Stay tuned because next week's video is actually going to be really exciting. I'm super excited for next week because my husband and I are going on vacation. He doesn't know where we're going yet. I booked a surprise vacation for him. He just knows like that he's taking the time off work and that we will be flying somewhere. And by the time that this video comes out, we will already be in Colorado. So like, you know, I can say it now on the internet. I had a lot of fun making this video, but of course I do need a break now from the weird books. Like I need to read something that's straightforward and just plot. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video.